Arboretum has 1,700 acres, and we have over 200,000 different plants. Occasionally we find a plant that is problematic, that escapes our collections, and we'll quickly put this information into our database, and then we will lead collection measures to either assess the plant further or eradicate that plant entirely from our collection.
The Chicago Botanic Garden has been concerned about the invasive plant issue for over 25 years. Back in 1999, we wrote an invasive plant policy that was designed to be really considerate about what we grew on our grounds, how we managed invasive species, and to look holistically at what are we growing in our collection to ensure that we were not adding to the invasive species problem.
Invasive species are non-native plants that can really detrimentally affect natural areas in our state. Some species actually have the ability to form what we call monocultures. They take over a large area of a natural site or perhaps even along a roadside. They displace a lot of the native species that normally would be growing there. And there's also cases where non-native plant species negatively impact the animals in our environments. There's also huge economic costs in terms of the management and hours required to remove them from natural areas.
A number of garden colleagues, led by the Morton Arboretum, got together and decided to form a sentinel network, a group of gardens that would look at things escaping into their natural areas in order to provide an early warning system for other gardens and for the green industry. And that has been formalized since into the initiative we're talking about today.
The public dashboard contains real-time information regarding invasive plants, shows the range and the number of gardens that are reporting this plant to be problematic.
It allows us to see patterns along a wider geographic spread to identify what plants might be the up-and-coming invasives that we just haven't noticed yet.
It really can help professionals, plant users, to understand which plants to avoid.
The information from public gardens is extremely valuable because public gardens are the ones who oftentimes have new non-native species in their collections that have not been widely introduced elsewhere, and they know if it's been spreading.
In addition to the Morton Arboretum and the Chicago Botanic Garden, many other gardens in Canada and throughout the United States are contributing information to the database.
When the project started, we were already working on our own list of invasive plants, and we found that the criteria that was set by the group very easy to apply to our own list. It's a huge benefit to be involved in this project because it gives us a chance to see what other species are becoming invasive elsewhere. Also, we are able to share our own information. For example, we've been seeing non-native magnolias escaping cultivation in our own gardens and natural areas.
A perfect example of where this initiative could have helped if we had something like this 100 years ago is the story of buckthorn. Right now in the Chicago area, it's 36% of the forest canopy. It's displacing natural regeneration. If this initiative was here 100 years ago, this problem could have been avoided.
The cork tree is an example of a plant that we've planted numerous times within our collections over the years of the Arboretum's history, and we've seen seedlings popping up throughout the Arboretum. This is a small seedling of the cork tree. We would control a plant like this when it's found. And while cork tree is not considered invasive, many of the gardens participating in this initiative already have reported cork tree. And that's why we've decided to issue an alert on this particular plant.
We hear about problem plants before they become a problem for us, and we can remove them from our collection. And we can share the information that we're learning from our own experiences with other gardens as well.
This program can also give nursery professionals early warnings of what plants to avoid so they will not have undesirable plants in their inventory.
Public gardens, I think we would consider the experts in the invasive world. They're seeing these plants every day. They're working with these plants every day. They have people on staff that are highly trained. So if they're seeing something that they think is potentially problematic, there are great resources for companies like nurseries to fall back on and take information from.
So this morning I was looking at the dashboard for plants that had been flagged of potential concern in Illinois, and there was a species of wisteria that showed up, and I had not been aware that there were any invasive concerns with wisteria, so I immediately went and looked to see if the variety that we carry was in the same species. Fortunately, it is not, but that's definitely something I'll now keep an eye on to make sure we're staying away from this variety that's flagged for concern.
By participating in this project, you may be able to prevent management headaches on your site down the road and prevent the next buckthorn or honeysuckle from coming to your neighborhood.